Today I'm going to teach you how to read the Knights and the Pages in the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. And I use these court cards as action cards. So the pages, they announce a change is going to happen, and it's happening right now. And then the Knights, they give you a call to action. And they tell you something to do with urgency and to do it now, quickly. The Queens and the Kings, they have such good quality, like character traits and personality traits, and really good qualities that you want to emulate. And so when you pull one of their cards in a reading, they kind of just add to it. They kind of pepper in their energy vibe and whatever their kind of card encompasses, like their energy vibe. But the when you get a knight or a page, they really give you a call to action and they announce a change in their action cards. And that being said, whenever I do pull a knight or a page, I pull the next card immediately right after that knight or page. And then that knight or page will set the intentions for the next card drawn. And you'll know what to focus on whenever you draw the next card. And then it just really kind of like gives it more depth and real direct. And so the pages, I'll just go down the list. Page of Wands is the change of opinion, the change of desire, maybe even a change of seeing something that you want and then now you want it. Um, Definitely a change in like some spark of you that within you gets lit up. And it's like, you know what, like just have a little shift of excitement, shift of desire, and I'm starting to see things a little bit differently. And I want something now that I didn't want before for whatever reason. And then that just like sets the intentions for whatever the next card's drawn, and then you focus on that energy of change, of desire, passions, opinions in the next card. And then the Page of Cups is a change of heart because the cups represent heart. And you can have a change of heart about something where you really got your heart into something, but then something happens for whatever reason, and then you suddenly have a change of heart, and you either, you care now or you don't care as much. But that just really depends on the next card drawn. And then the next card after that would be the Page of Swords. And swords talk about like the mind and thinking and how you communicate with the spirit. And so having the Page of Swords is change of mind. And for whatever reason, you start to get clued in about a new clue, something new that you see that you haven't seen before. And because of that, you have to take action. Like if you were to smell smoke, you have a change of mind that you need to go back where you came from and go back and take care of the fire. Or maybe you were to trust somebody, but then you have a change of mind because you start to see that they are untrustworthy. Maybe they told you you can't have any cookies. And then you say, okay, sure, no problem. If you don't have any cookies, or if I can't have any cookies because you don't have any cookies, I understand. But then you look inside their kitchen and you see that there is definitely like cookies in their cookie jar that you were just asking about, but they said no because they're all out, which means they're being stingy. So it's like, oh, I just called you out on your stuff for lying, something like that. Or if you were like to hug your romantic partner and then you smell like on their shirt like some perfume or a cologne that you don't recognize and it's definitely not yours, then you can say, oh, now I got a like change of mind because I'm starting to get clued in about maybe you're not telling me something that I need to know, something like that. It could just have a change of mind of like opinion in a way, but something that sparks up a clue and the insight, and then this gives you that change of mind. So it's more about like intuition and like godly insight kind of change of mind, not as opposed to Page of Wands, where it's more like a change of desire, change of passion, change of excitement. But that's kind of like more following your heart than it is following your mind. And then the last page is the Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles is pretty broad, but Pentacles, they deal with anything that is tangible that you can like hold in your hand, but also something that you can shift and change on the physical plane, such as like like your the way you judge somebody on their outside appearance, or you change your outside appearance. You can change your reputation because that can depend like how you see yourself or how you see others, depending on the rep and reputation. And it could be about change. Like you just have a change. It really depends on the next card drawn. It'll really clue you in. Like, if it was like a justice card, which is usually like the guy who is a business owner, manager, uh, that type of person. So if it was like to have a change of pentacles, be like, well, maybe you need to like change your career and maybe like have your own business, like change it up, or like how you deal with your employees, maybe how to change dealing with them. Maybe something you're doing just needs a little shift. But it could also mean like you want to change like your maybe a car, house, relationships, because pentacles deal with relationships. So maybe a change of the relationship dynamic somehow. Maybe even change partners. Someone showing a desire that they would want to like be with you, because they want to change being single. Now they want to be, in a relationship. And then you have the it can even be like health as well, because pentacles deal with health. So it's like, I want to change my health, or there's a shift in health, something like that. And next we bring us to the knights. And the knights are all about a call of action. And so you have the Knight of Wands, which is about passion, creativity, desire. And usually these knights are jumping out of the desert. And the desert represents a place of like complacency, no change, stuck in routine, nothing grows or springs up from the desert. It's just nothing ever changes. It's like you're stuck in a rut. And but finally, like you get like a spark of energy within you, like this huge desire. You get this great creative idea that gives you passion, gives you purpose. And then you jump up and outside your comfort zone and outside your complacency, and you start creating and you start following your passion, and it just springs life into you, and you kind of get out of your personal desert. You'll see all the knights are on horses, and the knights are male riders, and then all the horses represent female energy. And so when you have a male and female working together as a team, it's like the hermetic marriage with the male and female polarities joining as one. And when you have this inside you, it's kind of like your heart and your mind are balanced, and it makes you want to get up and like have so much confidence to go get your ideas done, or something you feel it in your heart, a desire, like a spark of desire, passion, excitement. And then you communicate with your brain to see, like, does it make sense? Like, should I do this? Will, is it stupid? Or is it going to hurt anybody? Or, is it a risk that I should take? And then the heart and the mind communicate together. And then it gets you motivated when the answer is yes, this does make logical sense and it is good for you. And it's your opportunity to like start living, gives you purpose. And so that's like the hermetic marriage within you, which is all shown anytime in the tarot we see a knight riding on a horse, or just a person riding on a horse. Usually not usually, but every single time it's a male rider and the horse below it. And the horses, if you look like into their face, they just seem to have like a feminine vibe to them. And like, again, the male and female mixed together equally. Hermetic marriage. And the next knight is the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups, he delivers like a really truthful but tactful message. And it's something that people need to hear as opposed to like what they like want to hear. And you'll see the knight, he's going over a river, approaching a river, and that behind that river is this huge mountain. So he has two really big obstacles in front of him. But he's like, you know what? I just don't care, because the truth needs to be heard, and someone really needs to tell you this. And usually it's like something from the heart, as you see through all like the Pisces fish on top of this guy's clothes. And so and he has the Mercury wings on his helmet and on his boots. And Mercury is the messenger of the gods. And so it's like some insightful message, like from God or the universe. And he feels like he's got to tell this quickly, because Mercury is the fastest messenger, and they just need to like tell you quick. And it's going to be the truth, and you need to hear it because it's straight from God. So sometimes when people tell you something, it's not like, oh, this is my opinion. This is like, oh, I just got this huge insight. I just feel like I got to tell you. Like, maybe I don't even know you that well, but I just got to let you know, in the nicest way, like, you should do this. And so sometimes it's like I said, like, not exactly what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear. And so they could show like someone's gonna, either do that to you, if you're depending on the question of the cards, or you should do that to somebody else. Like, it's time to tell them the truth. And that truth, the intentions of it, it's going to be conveyed within the next card and the next card's energy. Um, that being said, look, just for example, it could be the High Priestess card that you pull after pulling the Knight of Cups. And the High Priestess card is connected to the Hebrew letter Gamil. And Gamil means camel, and it's all about being called to serve and to sacrifice yourself and your own needs for the other people's needs. And so then you just answer the call, you rise up to the challenge and take the responsibility and do what you're told, and you do a good job because people need you and with your talents, and you might be the only one for the job, or you're the perfect one for the job. You are the chosen one. So the Knight of Cups comes, someone would be asking you, like, look, I know this is not what you wanted to do, but I really need you to do it for such and such reason, and you are the chosen one for this. And then, the high priestess steps up to the challenge. Um, the next card is the Knight of Swords. So swords is all about the mind, and you're like connecting with intuitive insights. And it shows how this knight is jumping out of the desert, and so he has a bunch of butterflies on his horse's straps. And butterflies, they always represent manifestation. Just like a caterpillar has to sit inside a cocoon for 2 weeks until it transforms into a butterfly. And so butterfly is like it's manifested into its best potential, or like that idea has time to like fester and build and really like be thought about and contemplated about, and then becomes this great thing that you finally manifested out of your ideas. And so you get this Knight of Swords, and he's like, manifest your ideas now with urgency. That really big idea maybe you've been sitting on, or that you just got inspired with, it's like, do it now. And then, depending on exactly what that idea is about, it would be reflected in the next card drawn. And the last knight is the Knight of Pentacles. And the Pentacles, it shows this knight who's looking out into the valley below. And the valley is all plowed. And so all he needs to do is just plant the seeds. And he has a white oak leaf on his horse. And then he also wears it on his hat as well. And so it shows like the white oak leaf is these big white oak trees. They grow big and they grow tall, but they start with just a little tiny acorn. But sometimes, you got to plant like at least 10,000 acorns in order to grow at least one oak tree. So it's like that old saying of big things come from small beginnings. So all you got to do is plant seeds. And since only one oak tree grows after 10,000 seeds, you have to plant a lot of seeds. And sometimes when you're going to start a new like job or relationship or whatever, it's already been done before by thousands of people, millions of people before you throughout all of time. So all you got to do is just plant the seeds. The hard work's already been done. Like if you want to get into a certain field of like work or study, just know that you're just, you know, people have already done it before. And if they can do it, you can do it. It's just all you got to do is get started, and you just got to do what you can with what you got with the resources at hand. And then you'll learn as you go. And sometimes when you're at this level, you have to do things on your own. Just like this guy, the Knight of Pentacles, is on the black horse, and the black represents Saturn energy. And Saturn has a lot to do with doing things that are difficult, stepping outside your comfort zone. It's just so hard to take the first step sometimes before you build up momentum. And there's fears and doubts that you have to overcome. And you always feel sometimes like a restriction of some sort, just like not having the correct resources. And then it really begs you to be resourceful and requires you to be resourceful. And you feel like you're doing it all alone a lot of times. And in a way, it's kind of dealing with your own karma. But once you learn how to overcome this and your fears and just get out of your own way, that's when success comes. And you just got to plant the seeds and then plant them now. And then depending on the next card, it'll be like reflecting that energy of what type of seeds do you plant. Does it, you start the relationship, you start the job, you start the project? Do you even change like your diet or your look? It's pretty broad, but the pentacles is just something tangible, something we can change in the material world. And that's the Knights and the Pages. When you get them, they're always really exciting. They always show you the timing of it is now, like the change of the pages is now. And then the now is like the window of time that could happen within these few couple days, like less than 2 weeks, maybe even a week, but never longer than that. It's like get started now. And just like the knights, they give a call to action with urgency. And when they give, like the knights are delivering messages from the king and the queen. And so it's like, this is like your new mission in life. Like, drop whatever you're doing and start to do this because it's more important and it's coming straight from the king and the queen. So it's very, very important and it's official. And the knights are just the messengers. And then it's supposed to give you purpose and kind of direction.